Alright, so UFC top 5 racist fighters currently on the roster. Now, I know what you might be thinking. There can't be that many racist fighters on the UFC, or maybe you're thinking there's way more than that. I believe there's way more than that. However, I'm not gonna make the list too long. I kind of just wanted to make a fun, goofy list of all the racist, and this is going to include a little bit of the homophobia and the discrimination, I guess. So racist and discriminatory fighters. All right, top 5 right here, right now. Um, just wanted to do this list, just have a little bit of fun. There's not any fights this weekend, unfortunately, so I'm bored as fuck. But out of the current roster, there's been racist fighters in the past, but I kind of wanted to go through the current roster. I think it's a little more interesting because you will see these fighters in future fights. So every time you see them, you can always imagine that racist portion of them. But starting off with in at number 5, we have Sergey Pavlovich. Now, Sergey Pavlovich might not actually be racist, so he's sitting at number 5. However, he did do one thing that was a little telling of his character. And no, I'm not talking about the baby rage that he had after Alexander Volkov. That testosterone maybe hit him a little too much at the end there when he lost. But other than that, he's never really said slurs. He's never really, come across as necessarily racist in post-fight interviews. However, he did make a post a little while back. The Sergey Pavlovich Instagram, the Twitter. This was, 260 pounds of white power. You got kills black people. You got fucking kills fat people. Don't care about them, but they're there. But could invade and conquer Scotland in 3 days. NATO's worst nightmare. Just average Russian things, I guess. But he took it down very soon after posting this, so it's quite possible he didn't know what it was, especially because this post does say he didn't understand due to the language barrier. So he could actually not be racist, and he just accidentally posted this up. But my argument would just be, why post something you can't understand? You know what I mean? Especially in today's era. Anything can get you canceled. But thought this was interesting. Soloed the content of Africa down here in the bottom left. Scared Ngannou away. Just Sergey Pavlovich things. But yeah, he sits at number 5. I don't think he's actually racist. At least I haven't seen anything completely 100% facts that he's racist. But, I just, I don't know why you would post something you don't understand. You know what I mean? Just saying, I don't hate Sergey Pavlovich. I don't mind the guy, actually. And for that matter, just to preface the rest of these people, I'm not saying you have to dislike these people. I'm not even saying they can't be your favorite fighter. But what I am saying is that they've done some, racist / discriminatory things recently, on the roster. So just be mindful when you're watching this guy fight, or these people fight, I should say. But yeah, you don't have to hate them. You don't even have to like them. I'm just trying to point out the ones that are a little off the hook. You know what I mean? A little out of their, out of their skin when it comes to these post-fight interviews. A little telling of their character. But Sergey Pavlovich, number 5. Don't know if he's racist. Kind of seems that way though. Moving on to number 4. In at number 4, we have the one, the only, Manel Kape. Now, besides having a boring fight to Muhammad Mokaev, and squashing the beef right afterwards, which was really cringe to watch. Come on, die on that hill, be aggressive. But aside from that, Manel Kape losing all of his aura. He's said a certain things during a certain UFC, I think it was 261. It was a long ass time ago. I think it wasn't that one. Was it 216? have been 216. I don't remember exactly when I think it was this one, 216. But he said a certain word towards the crowd the same night as someone else that we'll get into in a little bit here. But he just basically implied this, this word right here, the good old word, the one that starts with the F, we'll just say that. Manel Cap definitely went unhinged that night, and the mic was definitely pulled away. DC was not impressed, but yeah, you can sense a little bit of racism and discrimination coming from Manel Caps based on his aura. Now, he's lost that aura, fortunately, because he got shit on by Muhammad Makayev. I don't know how you let that happen, even with a broken toe. But does suck to see. He was once the base Chad. Now he's just gonna fade away as a test in the, I believe it's flyweight division, to get to that top 10. But I digress. Manel Cap, number 4. I do think he's racist. I do think he's a little homophobic here and there. Or sorry, I don't think he's racist. I just think he's homophobic. I don't think he likes gays. I don't think he likes the gays. That's how I see it. You're welcome to think the way you want, but that's how I see it. Moving on to number 3, the one and the only. Say it again, Radke.
What did he say? I want to listen. Oh shit! Oh shit! He dropped it on him.
The coveted guru quote, I guess we'll say. MMA career, not that great, 9-4. If you go on this guy's Twitter, it is a war zone of certain quotes and, a little bit of homophobic / racist tones to them. He's even said the N-word on Twitter before. So, safe to say this guy's not exactly the cleanest of the bunch. But because he's actually said certain words, and he also has the same resume as Manel Cap, as saying a certain word, wrong one, on a, certain stage on the same night, being that of the specific F word referring to a bundle of sticks. Very interesting from Charles Radke. And then also saying the N-word on Twitter, and then I believe he just constantly says the, bundle of sticks around on Twitter as well. It's a definitely interesting fighting resume if you look at his Twitter, as far as what he says. So, I think he's undisputed number 3rd most racist in the UFC right now, and you can just tell by his stature, we'll say, on top of the words he says, he, doesn't back down when he says them, just saying, so, I think Charles Radke, no-brainer, earns the number 3 spot, definitely one of the most racist fighters in the UFC, and yeah, moving on to number 2. Now, in at number 2, this one was a hard one, I'm not gonna lie, it was between this one and number 1, Israel Adesanya. Now, if you don't know, Israel just hates white people, like straight up. He's called Dricus du Plessis every single white slur you can. Listen, I'm not saying the white slur is worse than the, colored slur, we'll say. But what I am saying is that it's clear that he just doesn't like white people, because he tried calling Dricus every single name in the book. He tried calling him, the cracker. Who the fuck is this cracker? You know what I mean? And then he also called him, I think it was a pink pig, which I believe is actually a racial slur in certain countries towards white people. No idea the context of it, but I've just heard it's a racial slur. He also diminishes his heritage, calling him a product of colonization and a bunch of other things, for no reason other than the fact that Dricus du Plessis is white. He lives in Africa, he was born in Africa, he's been raised in Africa, he trains in Africa, and he's an African man with an African family. So, not much really else needs to be said. Israel Adesanya isn't in Africa, and he loves to claim African, but he just likes calling white people the worst words he can think of. There's not many, don't get me wrong, So Israel's able to find some of the worst ones, but I just don't think, I don't think this guy's in the clear just because he's shitting on a white race. Just because you're calling a white person a bunch of slurs doesn't mean you're not racist. All right. You know, white people, you can be racist towards white people. White people are a fucking race. All right. Now, again, it's not like the worst thing in the world. But Israel's also called DDP the N-word about 15 times in the cage. So I just think that was just the drunken racism took over, and he just decided to fucking explode on a young DDP. But maybe that's just me. Maybe you think Israel's actually not racist. I would say you're wrong. But hey, everyone's entitled to their own opinions. Now, moving on to the last number one spot. Kamaru the wow, I've really butchered that. Holy fuck, I need to get checked for a stutter. Anyways, Kamaru, the Nigerian Nightmare Usman. You know, didn't want to butcher that middle part, but you know. Now, I don't hate Kamaru Usman. I do think he's a PED cheat. I think there's no way he's not some sort of PED cheat. You know, dad being a criminal, and you know, working at a pharmacy. And the way he just looks in the octagon, I'm sensing some PEDs. But, hey, you know what? More power to you if you don't think he is a cheat. I'm not accusing him of cheating. I just, you know, that's my understanding of the way the world works. But, hey, you know, some people can deny reality. Just saying. Now, why is Kamaru Usman number one racist fighters in the UFC? Now, I don't know if you've watched it, but, not only in the past has he kind of alluded to not really liking white people, but in this video right here by Pound for Pound with Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo, shout out to their channel because they are pretty entertaining for the most part, a little bit of boring here and there, but sometimes they have some bangers. Outside of the coveted, where is it here? The little nugget laughing, which might have triggered the racist blood pumping into Kamaru Usman's veins here. But you know, if we just skip to this right here, kind of goes in a little bit of detail. Race.
Israel born in Africa? Yes. Was he raised in Africa?
This is a response to Henry basically saying that DDP was born and raised in African, and that's all he's saying. And this is Kamaru Usman's response here, basically.
Yes. Until his family moving him out to look for an opportunity. Now, we can try to not say race all we want to and not say race all we want to, but if there's anything that we know, especially being in America right now, Henry, you and I, if there's one thing that we do know is that the color of your skin does play a part.
Yeah, listen, I'm not American. I'm a Canadian. But let me just say the color of your skin doesn't do shit in Canada, alright? The amount of brown people I see walk around, fuck, most of our officers are brown, alright? I'm more likely to get a fucking ticket at this point, because I'm the minority in my country. Can't speak for America, though. Very interesting that he's just trying to throw up color to Henry Cejudo, which, by the way, is Mexican. Just saying. And then, you know, Henry responds with the Giga Chad.
Yes or no? It does.
But when we talk about America, though, Kamaru, America's the world, bro. You have.
And hey, he's just saying how it is. You know what I mean? But basically, this conversation goes back and forth for a little bit about the African champion narrative. But yeah. Kamaru just implies that he hates white people have privilege, all this other shit. I'm not denying white people privilege or whatever, but it's very clear by the way you can see Kamaru Usman talk, the way he moves, the way he speaks about white people. He just doesn't like white people. And I think the ones that try to subtly hide their racism, I think they're the most racist. So that's the only reason why he beats out Israel Adesanya. Because Israel Adesanya will call you who the fuck is this cracker to tell me who the fuck I am, who the fuck Kamaru is, you know? Kamaru Usman is just racist. I think he has racist undertones with, like, everything he says about white people, and I think that makes him just slightly more racist, because he hasn't come to terms with the fact that he's racist. So one day, I think we're going to see a spiral of Kamaru Usman just fucking raging about how white people are the inferior humans. That's my prediction. Now, you might disagree with me. You might reorganize this list. I just kind of wanted to get my thoughts and opinions on the top 5 most racist fighters in the UFC currently. And this is how I would organize them. There are definitely some probably in the unranked category that I missed out on. Maybe a little bit more deserving than Sergey Pavlovich for number 5. But that's kind of what I wanted to do. Thought it'd be a little fun, a little goofy. This is just meant to satire. I mean nothing by it. I'm not actually calling these fighters racist. I'm just saying they're more likely to be racist over others, you know? Just saying. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. If you made it to the end, I want to thank you for watching. And as always, I hope you have a good day.